Recently, I suffered quite a few defeats on tournament battles against other skillful players, so I decided it is time for me to go back to the ranked ladder and start doing some training and practice. But of course, the first game we're back onto the ranked ladder is this, against the OP vampire counts with their overhauled healing, and of course Helman Gors is riding on his Ghost card pushing forward, ready to drain away my infantry. That is why it is only fair that I bring my own OP build here. Shredder of Lustria, supported by Lord Mazdamundi for his healing, Bastillodon Ark of Sotek, and the classic Temple Guard box. This build comes from Total War Warhammer 2, where it is extremely effective against rush factions without any missiles, namely, well, the Vampire Count. But of course, with healing being massively buffed in Game 3, the question is whether the Shredder can still carry this game. Viewers, feel free to make your guess now and perhaps guess how much damage can the Shredder of Lustria do by the end of the battle. Now back to the engagement, it is a serious combat of attrition. Both sides have their own supporting elements, with Helman Gors spamming his healing, while Mazdamundi not only spamming Apotheosis but also dropping the shield of the Old Ones for damage resistance. If we look at the Shredder, he is already up to 150 kills, doing some solid work against the vampire counts, but I did make a mistake and allow my temple guards to be blasted by the winds of death. But the Shredder is still fighting strong here despite the weakened temple guard support, since the key of this battle lies in all my single entities and of course the Bastillodon Ark of Sotek as well. Now for the second mistake of this game. I totally forgot that Bastillodon Ark of Sotek requires manual activation of its ability, and for the first half of battle I totally forgot to activate the vortex damaging effect. So quite a lot of damage value is missed, but what is not missed is the Shredder of Lustria just continuously pummeling the zombie infantry, skeleton infantry and whatnot. He is almost at 250 kills already, and at the same time the machine gun blow dots on his back are continuously shooting stuff left, right and center. Good news is that after 5 minutes of being pummeled by giant monsters, finally Helman Gors has reached his heal cap. The Shredder has his eyes on the prize, gnawing and biting and clawing at the Gors cart. As a result, Helman Gors is slain and there is no more aura from the legendary Necromancer. The bad news is that Mazdamundi is also extremely low in health. Now I'm just doing whatever I can to sustain his leadership. The cold-blooded ability, Shield of the Old Ones, and also healing with Apotheosis. And even after all that, those were still not enough to keep him alive. This means that it is now the Shredder versus the world. The Count's player is also surrounding my Bastillodon, focusing heavily with the armor-piercing monster. The balance of power is against the Lizardmen, but the Shredder of Lustria is still going strong. As for the vampire counts, they have ran out of healing as all the monsters here are at their healing cap. This means the massive weapon strength on the Shredder will be very impactful, as the damage is no longer reversible for the vampire counts. Every strike takes out huge chunks of HP on the vampire count army, and the machine gun blow dots are just constantly shooting them down, dealing very efficient damage to the Vargheists who lack the armor to mitigate this kind of damage. And without the healing to sustain their balance of power, victory is quickly slipping away from the grasp of the vampire counts. The Vargheist tries to pull back for a psycho charge, but that also leaves the Shredder free to run down the poor Necromancer on his corpse cart. Now if we look at the army performances, Star Chamber Guardians and Ark of Sotek as well as Lord Mazdamundi all did exceptionally well in this kind of long grindy fight, with a lack of armor piercing anti-large units on the vampire count's end. But what is the damage value of the Shredder of Lustria? What is their performance in this battle? Now we can see that there are 352 kills and over half health left, and the damage value over 7,000. It is a value that you will never see unless you're fighting the vampire counts, simply because they rely on that healing so much. Essentially, you have to kill an army and a half of the vampire counts, as they always heal cap with the availability of healing from their auras as well as magic. This build is a Total War Warhammer 2 build, but perhaps it can still withstand the challenge of time. Going into Game 3, even with the overhauled healing, the Lizardmen can still outgrind the vampire counts with their powerful combo of dinosaurs. The vampire counts might have been buffed to a point of being brokenly OP, but the Shredder surely still has what it takes to crush these filthy undead.